Right, good morning. Welcome to Snowdonia Antiques again. It's been a long time since we've done a video. So today, we'll have a little look at this little beauty. Okay, hold on a second. There, look at that, I've got a box. Nice one. There you go. Now, a Llanrwst William Owen long case clock. Now, a lot of people actually mistake this W for a Watkin Owen. And it's not, it's his brother William's. Okay, this has been painted on again afterwards. Somebody's retouched it all up, but at the end of the day, still a Llanrwst clock and needs looking after, needs taken care of, and we'll get it sorted out. Okay, right, what we're going to do is we're going to break this down into parts now, and you'll get a quick brief and a quick look of what we're actually doing. Firstly, we have to take the fingers off. Okay, so you've got a pin in the centre here. See if you can take the pin out. Okay, that's out. Put it in a little box, keep it separate. There you go. I have two little boxes. Firstly, this box here, where all the brass components and everything's going to go into to be able to be cleaned. Secondly, this little box here, things like fingers, bells, that type of thing, which will be cleaned, but they'll be kept separately from it. Okay, so take your seconds finger out. And then we got the hour finger here. Or hour hands, some people call it. So look, see if it's going to lift. There you go. Comes up. Right, spin it around. You have the bell. Get a pair of pliers. Take the nut off the top of the bell. Look at the dust. And you get to see the works properly. Okay. As you can see, it's been a wee while since it's actually had a service or it's been cleaned. Okay. Looks a bit dusty and a bit yuck, but nothing can't be taken care of. Now, let's take these retaining pins out. Let's take the dial off. One. Two. Three, 4. Now the dial, and the spacer plate, which is this little plate in between, just slide away from the works. There you go. Now, if you look at the back of this, you can see it's already been played with. The bottom here, it's got Birmingham, actually has got the makers of the dial's name across the top here. Hughes, I think that is. But you can see it's already got retainers actually holding all that together. And that'll all come to pieces, all be cleaned up. And the dial doesn't look like it needs much doing. It's unusual to have the fruits as the flankers and shells in the corner. I mean, it's quite pretty, to be honest with you. Right, let's put this to one side. Not like Blue Peter, this, isn't it? Okay. Now, pegs. Wonderful things for doing washing. Not the best things in the world for tying on with. So what I do is, I'll clip these, take them off, have a look underneath. You've got the pulley wheels, they can come away. And then you get these nuts. This one's got woodworm in it, so it needs treating as well, the seat board. Always comes in handy when you're doing this to have a look where the holes are, to make sure that everything lines up and goes back together. So you've got 2 holes here, okay? You've got 1 hole there. Now, that hole there, the cabling came, and when it went through the actual main hole here, came through and it was too tight on there, so they moved the hole across. So that's the hole that you use to tie back onto afterwards. Okay. And do the nuts. It's not like Blue Peter, is it? I mean, we can't turn around and say, this is one we did earlier. So what we'll try and do is remove seat board from the works. There you go, that's one. That's two. There you go. Seat board, slightly dusty, as I said, woodworm and things like that, so all needs treating and taken care of. Now, what we have here is a normal standard works. Now, it hasn't got an interlocking lifting mechanism, so you know it's a Watkin from that. Hasn't got 5 pillars, which would have been an extra pillar, one of these in the centre here. So again, you know it's not a Watkin from that. So it's a later clock. It doesn't detract from the actual beauty of the clock. Then we got the reverse section of it. This is the crutch. The crutch goes into the escapement at the top there. So you have to get rid of this section here to be able to take the crutch out. Screwdriver. Da, 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 da. Okay. Now, the reason why I take this part off first, instead of just taking the strike mechanism, which is all this part of the front here, instead of taking that off first, is it'll allow me to have a flat surface to work on with the back. So when you lie it flat on the table, it's easier. There you go. That's this part here, comes out, feeds back through, like so. And this is the bell post. This is tightened. So get the screwdriver. There you go. Get some pliers on that. Okay, so that bell post is off. There's a nut for it. There you go. Now, this section here is all the strike section at the front, and this part there is extremely important. If it should slide away, if it doesn't, just going to have to get something to jimmy that out. There you go. That is the gathering pallet. Okay, so that is extremely important. Do not lose there, because they are fun to make. Not. Now, all these little parts here are all held on with little pins. So all these pins need to come out, and then a section will slide away. One. Two. Three. And four. This is where we get the long nose pliers in. Okay, four. So this is the snail and the rack. Again, important pieces. So that's the cleaning section. Then you've got the lifting mechanism. And then you've got this part here. Now these two cogwheels here drive the fingers coming around to the centre here, and this little pin here, when it's in place, will engage for the strike. Okay, this is the lifting mechanism that fits into there. When that wheel comes round, as you can see, that little pin there will go round, lift, and when it lifts and drops like that, that's when it strikes. Unfortunately, somebody's replaced that screw there, so we'll have to put a proper one back into it again. Wow, this is the one that's screwed in half, isn't it? Look at that. Okay, keep that to one side. That's what it's supposed to have. That's what somebody else has put onto it. It's amazing the history of these things, isn't it? Okay. Underneath this little cogwheel here is this little thing. This is a pressure retaining plate, and that puts pressure on the wheel. So when your actual fingers go onto it, it creates a bind, and then it actually drives the fingers. Right, this little spring here is for the rack. And what happens is, when this section lifts up here, that rack will fire back. That spring will actually make the rack drop into place. Now this is the interesting part. More retaining pins here. So what we do is just take the retaining pins out. 1. 2. 3. 4. Okay. Take this front plate off. These little posts will take out, and they can be kept and cleaned on one side and put back on it when it all gets put together. Take that post off all the way around. Oh, look at this. Now, this is quite interesting. See this section here, you have one of the pins that's actually snapped off on the inside of it. So what we need to do is to get that pin out of there. There's 2 ways around it. You can either push it. You can see it's been soldered in at the back there just to be able to lock it in. See if we can get something underneath that just to wedge it out. Okay. I can see the end of the pin there. So what I'll try and do is, I'll try and get a centre punch and punch that section out. There you go. See if we can punch this section out here. If not, we'll force it back in. And happy days, at least we can clear to take that plate out. Now, as you can see, just about managed to push enough of it out the back there to be able to see if I can get a grip on it on this side. There you go. Give it a little tap up. See if you can free it just slightly. If not, push it back in. And then get a pin once you've just loosened it. You get another pin. To force it through. There you go. All done. Okay, so take those posts off. One, two, three, four. Now you're into the main gubbins of the whole thing. Okay, so all strike sides are already out. That's the drive side coming out. That's the heartbeat really of the clock. There's the butterfly, or the governor as some people call it, and there's a hammer. Flip this one over, unscrew the spring for the hammer. Oh, the cops are coming. Okay, all done. There you go. Hasn't got any marks on it where it's been redone, but it's been rebushed at one time. So no one's actually signed off on it to show that it's actually been done. Now, these parts here, I find them fascinating, to be honest with you. I think they're great. Now you'll have two wheels. Now the biggest wheel will be on the drive side, which is the right hand side of the clock. The smallest wheel, what they call a great wheel, the smallest wheel will be on the left hand side, which is the strike side. So you've got drive on the right, you've got strike on the left as you face the clock. That little pin off there will remove this retaining plate. Now it's important that once you've actually taken this off and you've taken it all to pieces, you want to mark these things, even if it's just to put a little X on it to know which one goes back to place. Okay. There's one done. Keep all the pins, might need to use them again. Okay, that's a retaining plate. Here's a great wheel. Little spring on the inside. There's the spring, there's your ratchet, and that's all the teeth that actually bites into. Now, as you can see on the inside of this, the cabling goes in through a little hole here, gets tied off in the inside there and pulled back through. So what we have to do is to take that out. Now, if you look at this, that there is a very long tail on that knot. That shouldn't be like that. The reason being, because sometimes when you actually wind this up, that can actually flip out and jam in between the teeth there, between the ratchet and the actual teeth, and it'll stop the clock. Okay, let's get rid of this. And it's that plastic cabling again. If you're going to do it properly. I mean, I don't put this stuff back in. I don't like plastic cabling, never have done. Okay, fair enough, it does the job and all the rest of it, and some people do swear by it, but I don't like it personally. If you're going to do it properly. Don't put this rubbish in, put cat cut in it. Okay? And there you go. You have one winding drum complete. Now, what I do is, I get hold of a little marker. I put a scratch on it. You've already got a W on there for wind, but there's nothing on these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an X on all of these, and that'll keep it in place. The X. An X. Put the X on the outside of this. There you go, that's that one done. This one here has actually been knocked through, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and take that one out in a whole different kind of way. Now, find somewhere that's nice and flat to be able to put this in here, lift at the section. What you're trying to do is you try and dislodge that pin that's right here. So I'll do is I'll take it over to the vise because I can't get a proper grip. It's too dangerous messing around with it otherwise. Okay, on the way back now. There you go. So what we've done is we knocked that pin through so we can remove this retaining plate. Okay, you can see where the pin was there. So what I'll do is I'll re-punch that one out. Come through on the inside here. And do exactly the same with this. See what I mean about that tail sticking out there? So get it out. So that's that one done. Okay. So didn't take long. And all that needed to be done to rip this to pieces has been done. So there you go. Inside there is a Clockworks for an 8-day long case clock made by William Owen of Llanrwst. So what I'll do now is I will clean it all up, go through it from top to bottom, make sure that everything's in the right order, so it's polished and looks lovely. You can see the videos of this when it's completed and ticking away up on either on YouTube or on Facebook. And you can follow us on, well, you can come and have a look at our website, which is notonlyantiques.co.uk, or you can actually follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, or anything else like that. So if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and check in with us next time. Thanks very much for looking at what we do and taking the time to look at all the videos. You are absolute legends. Thanks for that. Take care now. Bye.